Hey guys, welcome back to Let's Be Honest podcast. Today we have Miki. How would you describe yourself? You're an artist, of course, but like how would
Yeah,
you describe yourself?
I usually do the trifecta of like artist, songwriter, producer. That was only two fingers. Yeah, artist, writer, producer. And then like that's like what I do. And then part of my like platform, and I just use my platform to just like be on the internet, whether it's like for fun and be silly or to be like, hey, like trans rights are very important. So it's like the spectrum
Period.
is pretty big.
Yes.
But what I do is like, yeah, I make music.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I'm super excited to put you on the spot and ask you all the juicy questions. So, welcome to Let's Be Honest podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Okay, we're gonna do some fun little like icebreakers to kind of get us in
Okay.
the groove of things. Okay. If your life was a movie, what would the title be and who would play you?
Okay, so I think it would be really cool to just have the title just be like Miki, or it would just be my last name, so it'd be Ratsula.
Okay.
It would be one of the two because it's like they're both kind of like what could it be about, but also you know what it could be about. And then I'd have Channing Tatum be my actor.
You know what? Okay. So why him?
Because I'm not saying that I look like Channing Tatum, but I think that if anyone were to maybe like he has like the shaved head, at least I think his head is shaved right now.
I think so.
I don't know, he gives me gender envy, and I feel like that would just be
Okay.
really cool to be played by Channing Tatum.
Okay. I hear you loud and clear. I
And
love it.
it would be a nod back to like She's the Man, because like I
Okay.
grew up playing soccer, so it's like it'd be a whole full circle thing.
Oh my God, she's the man. I grew up playing soccer as well. Oh,
Hmm.
that's the one with God, hopefully I'm like
Amanda Bynes,
okay, yeah, and she goes to the school and she dresses up as yeah, okay.
which is such like a queer trans story,
I love
anyways.
it.
Like such a my wife. I showed it to my wife for the first time like a year ago, and I was really surprised she'd never seen it because she's seen like all those types of movies.
Have
And she
you?
showed me Mean Girls for the first time, and then I was like, okay, babe, you must have seen She's the Man. She's like, no, and I was like, what? And then we watched She's the Man. That's
She's
crazy.
the Man is like a staple from my childhood. So is Aquamarine. Have you ever seen Aquamarine?
Yes, my wife loves Aquamarine. I'll come home and she's watching it.
Me.
So that's why I'm confused why she hadn't seen She's the Man.
Yeah, you're like you've seen all of these, but you haven't seen She's the Man. What's going on? Well,
Yeah, she's like peak like that, like just girls thousands
yeah.
movies, like girly pop movies, you know?
That's so funny. Yeah, I showed my I showed my partner Aquamarine like a month or so ago and she's never seen it. And it's so like kiddish and like silly and you know what I mean? But
Yeah,
and it's funny cuz she's watching it and she's like, "Oh yeah, this is like a cute movie." But to me I'm like zoned in and I'm like, "I love this movie because it brings back like childhood, you know?" But it's just funny.
yeah.
It's funny.
To be fair, I haven't seen it since like I was young, and I
Okay.
think recently my wife was like, "Let's watch it like
Hmm.
in bed or something. Like let's watch it tonight." And then I was like, "I don't really want to watch it," and then we hadn't watched it. I still need to watch it as an adult with her,
Yes.
but I'm familiar with Aquamarine.
Yeah, it's definitely a different experience when you're watching it as an adult.
Stop it.
Yeah, it's stop
Sorry, my
it.
cat.
Yeah, for the people that are listening, they weren't saying stop it to me.
Yeah, no, my cat has to be everywhere.
I love that. Okay, let's see. The weirdest compliment you've ever gotten from a fan.
Oh, I don't know if it was like I think they maybe it was a compliment. It was
Okay.
I was on tour with Lauren Sanderson in 2022, I believe, and we were in I want to say it was Houston. Maybe it was Dallas. It doesn't really matter the city. But I was the opener for the tour. And so after like during the show, I like am in the audience or I'm at the merch table or whatever, and I have so many interactions with drunk people, and it's so fun because like drunk people are just so funny, but they're a little scary sometimes because I get like my health anxiety is kind of like don't throw up on me,
Mhm.
but like it's funny. And these two girls came up to me and they were so drunk, and I think they were there for Lauren. They didn't know who I was, but they had seen me perform, and they were like, we don't get a lot of bald people around here, and I was like, what? And they're like, and they were just so excited for. I don't know. Stuck with me the fact that like we don't get a lot of bald people around here. I was like, first off, I'm not bald, like I have hair, but also I was like, I just was like laughing, but trying not to laugh because I didn't want to be rude, because they were so serious. But they were like, they like could not believe that I would like. They're like, do you like? it's like they thought there was like a bald community or something that I was like following around and they thought it was awesome. And so like I think they were like they had said something about like thinking it was cool. So like that's why I'd say it's a compliment. But when I saw that question, I was like, that was I think about that all the time. Like I was like, what do you mean we don't get a lot of bald people here? Like in Houston.
You're like,
I don't know what that meant.
yeah, you're like, am I
And
missing something?
I like literally have hair. Like I'm not bald. And it's by choice too. Like it's called yeah, anyways. But that was pretty funny and we laughed about it for so long after.
That is so funny. I feel like I would have been so thrown off if that happened to me, or if I was just standing next to you, I would have been like, "What just happened?" Like,
Yeah, I just was like I remember being like, okay. I was like, yeah. I don't even remember what I said. I think I was like, yeah. I guess I don't know. I didn't know you're keeping track of the bald people that you see in your town, but I guess so. They were really taken aback by it, and I think they were like they felt honored to be in my bald presence, I guess.
you're like a bald person.
Yeah, I was like, no, no, no.
You're like,
I
first of
wonder where they
all,
are.
not bald. Okay, that's so
Yeah,
funny.
I'm like, yeah, maybe we won't remember even this conversation, but that's fine. I do.
Especially when it's coming from a drunk person, it's like you don't know what, like, because with drunk people, it's like they can be joking, but they don't seem like it at all. Like they could come off
Yeah,
like so serious, or they can come off as like an asshole, but actually they're just drunk and they're
yeah,
trying to be, you know what I mean? You just don't
yeah.
know. That is so funny.
I feel like these two were like really feeling it. They felt like they were like, oh my God, we don't get a lot of bald people.
I
They
wonder,
felt like they had a revelation.
I wonder if they were like maybe on drugs. Like maybe they were like,
Probably.
yeah,
I'm not familiar with drugs.
me
I
either.
was scared to take Adderall, so like I don't know what it's like to be on drugs. I couldn't clock like if someone was on drugs. I
Yeah.
would assume everyone's just super drunk. So maybe they were seeing something I wasn't. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe like your head was just like God or like
Shiny.
something to
Yeah.
them. Like
Yeah, yeah.
that's so
Could be,
funny.
could be.
That's interesting. That would be something I would always remember as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Anyways, if you had to describe the music you make by choosing a food, what would that food be?
Great question. I have to think about this carefully.
I know it's a very, very important question.
You know what? I feel like a bowl of cereal, but like your favorite bowl of cereal. Because I feel like
Mm.
I was trying to think of all my favorite foods. That's where I was going to, and I was going to say like mac and cheese, and I was like, that doesn't make my music sound very good if I say mac and cheese. And then I was like, okay, what am I trying to capture?
Uh-huh,
I feel
uh-huh.
like a bowl of cereal, like whatever your favorite, like from your childhood, like whatever, what it's like. Like I love Fruity Pebbles, for example. That's my favorite. But also like sometimes I really like Lucky Charms. Like you know when it's like a Saturday morning and you have a good bowl of cereal where like the milk's cold, it's like a fresh bag. So it's like it's good, tastes great, and it reminds you like you feel a little bit nostalgic, but it's simple,
Mm-hmm.
nothing too crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like just like a good bowl of like sugary cereal. Has to be sugary. It's not a healthy. It's not no like oats and stuff. It's got to be like a child, like a nostalgic sugary cereal.
Okay.
That would be, I think,
I
what
like that.
describes our
And
music.
cereal can be very diverse as well. So
Yes.
I feel like cereal, like you could go so many like different, you can see so many perspectives. You know what I mean? Like
Yes, yes.
cereal, like it could be
And
like,
depending on the vibe that you're going for, same with my
exactly.
music, you can get different vibes, different changes of milk. You can even get
That's what I was gonna say. You
different
can
one. Yeah,
drink regular milk, oat milk, almond milk, cashew milk, whatever the fuck. I bet
right,
there's like 20 more milks out there.
right. But like what I feel like what you're seeking when you sit down and have a bowl of milk is like what you'll get when you go to my discography.
There
You'll
you
go.
go.
You're like, that's what I want that moment.
Period. Love it. Okay.
That's what I would say.
What's something totally random we don't know about you? Like maybe like a guilty pleasure or like a useless talent. I don't know, just something.
Here's the problem: is like I overshare. So
Okay.
anytime there's a question like this, I'm like, I don't know what I haven't told people, and that's where I'm like, I don't keep things to myself. That's my problem. I like love to overshare on the internet. So like, and like, I don't know if like I guess like what even are guilty pleasures anymore? Because I feel like we've kind of come back around where it's like kind of cool to be niche.
True, true.
But oh my God.
I guess a guilty pleasure could be like that's a very broad. Yeah, that's very broad. It could be like a food, I don't
Like
know.
I still like to watch SpongeBob. Like truly will. When my wife's like, "Do you want to watch cartoons?" I'm like, "Yeah." And then usually I know we're probably talking about The Simpsons or
Mhm.
like Bob's Burgers, but I'm like, sometimes I just want to watch SpongeBob.
Bob's Burgers is iconic, though.
It is really great. It is really great. We are also watching at the same time The Great North, which is like the same creators.
Mm-mm, I've never
It's
heard of
really good.
that.
I highly recommend it. Yeah, it's like the same creators, so it's the same style. Um,
The Great
and it's
North.
like it's nice because it's the same style, but it's like a whole different type of show. It's like a little bit more. I wouldn't say it's like a little bit more like chiller
Okay,
and
yeah.
a little bit more like adult, almost not even adult because that's not the right word, but it's more like mature. And then Bob's Burgers is when you want more like silly fun.
Yeah.
Great North is when you're like we're falling asleep, so it's kind of slow,
Okay.
like a slower show. There's a lesbian in it, a gay guy. There's like it's queer people in it, of course. I mean, it's Bob's Burgers people, but I guess yeah. My guilt when I'm thinking about like watching cartoons, like I fucking love SpongeBob.
Okay. So
So
like,
I feel like maybe as 27, I maybe should not be loving SpongeBob, but
but who says that? Like, who cares?
who says that about a lot of all the guilty pleasures? I guess is what I'm saying. So
That's
I
true.
guess I'll be my guilty pleasure.
I get it. And
That and Monsters Inc. Monsters Inc. is my other guilty pleasure.
you know what's funny? I haven't watched Monsters Inc. in a minute now that I'm thinking about it.
What?
Like,
My favorite movie of all time.
you're like, what? I
That and Shrek 2.
Shrek. Oh my God, Shrek. I think my favorite, if we're talking about like movies, because now we just like
Hmm.
transitioned over to like movies, like Monsters Inc.
Yes.
Have you ever seen Inside Out?
Yes, I have.
I think
Have you seen Inside Out too?
yes.
Okay.
I think the
So you're
first
caught
one's
up.
honestly kind of better, honestly.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Inside Out as itself is like a fantastic movie. Like they just knocked the what's the phrase? They knocked the ball out of the park with that one.
not yeah, they knocked the ball out of the
Knocked the
park,
ball
I
out of.
think.
I
Yeah,
always
I'm like,
forget phrases. My wife makes fun of me.
I do that all the time, especially on my podcast. I literally like try to say something and then I'm like, I don't fucking know what I'm saying. We're gonna move on. And then we just move on.
I have said the wrong things so confidently so many times that I've
Yeah.
listened back. My wife is a very, very smart person. Like she reads books. She's super smart. And so she'll listen back sometimes and laugh at something so ridiculous I said because I said it fully confidently. Or I'll say big words to her sometimes and I'll mean it and she's like, I think you mean this word. I'm like, "Ah, you're
She's
right. I
like,
do mean that
babe,
word."
that did not make any
Yeah.
sense.
No, no. So like and it happens. It makes it like when you're being recorded, you're a little bit more aware of what you're saying.
Yes.
So I think sometimes I'm like, am I saying the right phrase this time?
It's okay. You know what? As long as you're saying it with confidence,
Right.
you know?
Kill him. Yeah, kill him with confidence. That's not a phrase. It's kill him
Kill
with
him
kindness,
with,
isn't it?
I think it's kill him with kindness.
Definitely is.
Like, kill him with confidence is now our new, like, little phrase. That's
I think it's a kill him with. It's like
fake
there's
it
one
till
with
you make
confidence.
it.
Probably that.
You're like, I don't know anymore.
Yeah, yeah. I'm like, move on. Next question.
You're like, you're putting me on the spot.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna start saying dumb stuff now.
I know, bring your wife in. She'll tell us if we sound fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna move on to your music. So, when did
Fun.
you first realize that singing or just like making music in general was something that you wanted to pursue like seriously? Like you knew like, okay, I want this to be like my career. Like I want to make music off of it and besides like just like a little hobby.
Yeah. Well, I think it's like, I mean, it's not to sound cliche, but it's like music is all I've known, like quite literally. Like my family, like my dad plays piano and sings in a barbershop. So it's really cute. So it's a different type of music than what I do. But he's very good at music and he can read sheet music. And so like we had a grand piano growing up. And so my dad would always, him and I would always play together. It always was encouraged that we did music. My brother and I did music. Growing up, it was always, each of us had to always be playing one sport and play one instrument. They didn't care what it was. They didn't care how many times we changed it, but we always had to be doing one of each.
That's
And so like I
cool.
always
I
was
like
doing
that.
music, and yeah, I really like that too.
Yeah.
And my parents like really celebrated my music, and I just was always singing with my dad and singing, and so yeah. And then it just like was like YouTube comes around, you start uploading stuff. But it wasn't until so I've been like doing music and sharing music for as long as I can remember. But it wasn't honestly until like I was maybe a freshman or sophomore in college where because I when I graduated I mean, it was like end of high school like when I was a senior like that's when I met my wife on Tumblr And then so that's kind of when like I have a whole internet lore. That is when like kind of my music was like being shared more because I was like by sharing my relationship with her, I was sharing like more covers, and it was like I started to build this little like fan base for my music um, on the internet. And for a while, it just seemed like that's something that's all it was. And I was like, I don't know what this means. I don't think this. I can't be on stage right now. Like I had no confidence in myself or anything. I didn't even think about the fact that music could be a like an actual like career and platform for me. So like went to San Diego State and I got a psych degree. I didn't even think about music. I didn't even think about the fact that you could get a music degree. And it wasn't until I was like in school and I started just like sharing. I had already shared some stuff on like Spotify and stuff, but then I had one like cover of Somewhere Only We Know, which is a very sweet little cover. I did it in my dorm room. Um, like just for some reason did really well on Spotify, like without me doing anything. And then it kind of just like showed like, oh, people can listen to my music. I can like make a little bit of money while doing it. And it was like kind of cool. And I took a class at SDSU, like a production class. And then I was like, what the fuck? Why didn't I do this earlier? Why didn't I have these education tools in front of me? Why didn't I think about doing music? And it just kind of all like slowly. I think it was like very much I had to know who I was and have confidence in myself to actually feel like I could be an artist, because it was
Mm.
one thing to sing other people like other artists' music and share music, but to actually be an artist myself, I didn't even think that was a thing because I didn't even know that existed in me, if that
Mhm.
makes sense. So
Mhm.
it kind of just was like as the confidence in myself grew and understanding what actually being a musician and artist is like, actually it was like, oh, I can do this. And then, I'm very fortunate that my family like I don't have any like student loans, for example. Like my parents luckily were able to pay for my college. And so I got to just like focus on making music and the capacity that I did, and then like take whatever classes I wanted towards music. And even though there weren't a lot. Anyways, so it just kind of like slowly came. And then also like as I think it was like right up to leading into 2020, obviously like when the pandemic happened, and then like that kind of like really sparked that like anyone can kind of be found through the internet. It wasn't just like only Justin Bieber's. It was like anyone kind of can now. It's like a lot more accessible. And I think it just like all that built together. I don't know. That was a really long answer for
No, I love
the
it. And you
question, but
literally knocked out like two of my questions. So like that was great.
cool.
What was my question? Okay, so you always loved music, but during
Hmm.
college was when you were kind of like, oh, like you did your song in your dorm room, and that kind of like you
Yeah.
said people kind of liked it, right?
Well, it kind of was like I'd put out like original music before, like it was like right when my wife and I met, 16 on Tumblr. I was sharing like just YouTube covers and shit like that. And other lore than that, I like had a fan page for the US Women's National Soccer Team where I wrote songs about them, and that was its own fan base that I built. And then I merged the two because then I was like, I'm outgrowing this, and also I want to like make music that's not about a women's soccer team. And then so I merged a little bit. It was like my Disney Channel days, and then I was like becoming an adult. And then I was, felt inspired because I was like in love and
Yeah.
wrote music. And then she like my first EP I put out, she like hand painted a painting for it.
Your wife?
And yeah, it's I think it's still the same one. I don't know if we've changed it, but yeah, I like put that out on Spotify and all that stuff, and it was just like there's people who like wanted to hear my original music, and that was really cool. And so that was kind of like the first inkling of like there are people who want to hear my music.
Mhm.
And then I like randomly one day recorded that Somewhere Only We Know cover, and then on Spotify's like algorithmic playlists, it did really well. And then I saw that like, oh, I can actually make some money off of it, and I think it was like, oh, this could be something that like there's people who care about the music I'm making, and I think it was like cool to see both sides of that. That like, oh, the playlist can work if you get on the right playlist, people will hear your song.
Mm.
And I think that's like kind of what showed me that I can kind of do this
Yeah.
more and like just put out music. Like people want to hear my music. I think that's the thing I didn't believe for a long time.
Okay. And then you said that was what, 2020?
20, oh God, when did I put that one cover out? It was kind of like a span of like, honestly, from 2016 to 2020 was when I like was putting out music independently
Okay.
and like kind of like growing and building at the same time. And then around 2020 to 2021, I signed with my like an indie label, and I put out two albums with them.
Okay.
And then recently, actually, just got dropped by them a couple months ago.
Oh,
And now I'm independent again, but like completely different, like complete on the other side of the spectrum now. Like I'm like never been more prepared to be an independent artist, and I've like just grown so much as an artist and a songwriter and a producer. And it's crazy. It's like it's been what, like almost 10 years now of like this growth, and I feel like I'm still just starting. Um,
So,
so the
sorry,
yeah.
this is me just like not really knowing much about like how this works. So you being signed, what's the difference when someone is signed and then someone is independent? Like I'm sure when you sign with like a label or whatever, they can
hmm
like try to like get you into like I don't know. Like what is the difference?
Yeah, so basically like you kind of it's like basically like a record label. If we really want to like dilute like what they do, they're truly just banks. Like they truly just fund projects. So usually how it works, like for mine is like they give you an advance, like they give you a lump sum of money to put towards your project or your album, whatever you agreed on. And then you use that money to fund the project, fund the producers, the writers, whatever it takes to make the album. Um, they have different marketing teams, which have different marketing budgets. They have different social media. There's all these different teams that are
Okay.
allocated to you. Now, it just depends on the size of all that. So, like, mine was a pretty small label, like a nice little indie label. So I had a pretty solid team, but like, we had a small budget. We have to work with what we have. And then they also then recoup that money too from like streams and stuff like
Okay.
that. That's why like there's a lot of debate in the music industry of like how great are record labels, because like before, way back before streaming existed, like record labels were a great asset for artists to get signed to. But now it's like you see a lot of these, like especially people who have viral moments on TikTok get signed, they flop, so then now they owe all this money, they get dropped by these labels, and everyone forgets about them. So I think being independent really is super powerful. The main thing is just like how do you fund your own project, and
Mhm.
that's like the big thing is like how do you fund your project, and that's where labels can come in handy
Oh,
and do have great tools because they can fund projects for you. But then also there's the flip side of you do still owe that money, and there's more people controlling your music and all that. So
okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
that's why I mean I think like right now in my career, just like I have a solid support system, and so I'm comfortable to be able to, not comfortable, but I'm in a position where I'm not can figure out how to fund my
Yes.
projects.
Yeah.
But also like I produce a lot of my own music, so I don't have
hmm
to pay a producer. I don't have to pay a producer. I record everything in my studio for the most part. So like, and I've built my network of people I work with, whether it's like videographers or photographers, or I've just learned about the industry and marketing myself. And I'm like, it's just like it's kind of the most free, like it's the most powerful to be an independent artist
hmm
when you have the right resources that you've collected, if that makes sense.
hmm
It's all games, it's all money. It's like at the end of the day, record labels are businesses. They want to make money off of you.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
at one point you kind of become that. You become just like a number that's making money, but you know.
Yeah. Okay. I got you. I got you. That makes sense. Whenever I asked that question, I was like, okay, I'm pretty sure it's probably like whenever I think of independent artists, because I
hmm
mean, and you hear of all of these like big artists
Yeah.
that are like they're like I'm trapped. Like I don't know, was it like Taylor Swift or someone that was like signed with what's his name?
Oh, was it Kesha? Did you talk about Kesha?
What,
No, I know who you're talking about.
didn't
I
no,
can't remember
but
the
maybe
name.
I'm getting this totally wrong. Wasn't Taylor signed with like Bronze or
And he that was different. He bought all her masters. So this is where, yeah, the music industry starts to get really complicated because, like, when you have a song, I don't even fully understand it, and I should understand it more. You have like the publishing side, and then you have the master side.
yeah.
So it's like the publishing side that people can own percentages of is like the part that if it goes on a TV show or a movie or something like that, and then the master is actually the literal record, like the literal song itself, not the rights that people like
Yeah.
lease it or whatever. It's like the actual song. So I think he had bought all her, like she didn't own any of her actual music. So she wasn't making money off of her actual recordings, like in streams and stuff like that. If I'm saying that correctly. I don't remember exactly how it worked for her. But so she had to like buy her literal rights back to her actual music.
And then she
And
also
that's why
came
she was like
out.
re-recording
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
so that like she was re-recording it because it's like, oh, that I own that version of it.
Yeah.
It's all complicated. It's all stupid.
Yeah, I hear so many different stories of people being like, yeah, record labels suck. Like I'm stuck. It's like all of this stuff, all this crazy shit. And then there's people that are like, I'm independent and this is hard. And then there's people that are like, I'm independent and this is amazing. But the people that are independent
Yeah,
that are like, this is amazing, it's probably because they can afford and like.
100%. Yeah, and having the resources, because I mean, it's like the hard part being independent right now that I'm most scared about is like, yeah, you have to do it on your own now. It's like I
Mhm.
don't have the team to figure out schedules for me and figure out like how we're going to do it. It's like that has to all come from me, which is nice because I like to be very hands on with my music and my project. I don't like it to be in other people's hands.
Yeah.
Not in that way. I mean, I trust other people, but like I like being in control too of my
Yeah.
own projects. But it also is like can be overwhelming to have to come up with that, having another hat on your head.
Hmm.
But I think it was Haley Williams who had a really bad deal with Atlantic, I think.
Oh.
And then she got like screwed up. There's like all these she got screwed over, I think, with I'm pretty sure it's Haley Williams. I might be wrong. I love her anyways. There was something about like you get like trapped in their contracts too where you like can't release music for a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
So that's where also they get messy because they like really do control you. And I think that's like why she made her own like record label and all that. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of all like fuck the man at this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I'm very grateful for what my previous record label like gave the resources I had with them. I was able to put out 2 albums with them. But I got dropped right before I was signed for 3 albums and they dropped me after my second one. Um, at the end of the day, I just wasn't making enough money for them.
Yeah.
And that's frustrating. It's kind of, I was talking to my brother about this. It's kind of freeing to be like, it's frustrating to be like, wow, I'm just a number to them. And it's also freeing to be like, oh, I am just a number to them. So it's like not that personal. It's like there's two sides to the coin, right?
Totally.
But now it's like, yeah, it's daunting to figure out like, okay, I have this album I'm working on. I'm excited to put this out. Now I have to figure out all this scheduling stuff. But also I'm like, oh, I actually can do it exactly how I want now. Like I don't have to
Mhm.
do it in their same format where it's 5 singles every certain amount of weeks and all that because like, it's all focused on algorithms and what. And I'm like, well, do algorithms even work anymore?
Yeah.
Like anyone can put out music. Like, why are we following these certain schedules if they're
Hmm.
not showing us a return? So it's more fun now because now I can actually look more at my project of like, I might want to put out maybe like an EP first or something like a shorter project before and it's part of it. Like I can do whatever I want. So it is more exciting in that like I can literally just be like, I want to put this song out by this day and I can do that. I don't have to ask for permission. So that is the most freeing. And I think it gives me honestly like a better vision of what my project looks like
Yeah.
because I'm not having to deliver it for other people or other schedules.
Hmm.
And it changes kind of how I'm writing it too, which is fun.
Yeah. And you don't want to feel like rushed. I mean, like it is good to have people that are, you know, not saying that like people have to be on your ass, but like it's good to have people
Hmm.
that are on your ass about like when you need to put things out, but it's also like, okay, that date you want me to put this out. I don't really know how it works, but you're not
Yeah.
ready to put it out. You know what I mean? And it's like
Right,
then
right,
you're
right.
like, oh shit, I don't want to put out something that doesn't resemble who I am, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, and that's how I kind of got stuck in this thing where like I after I finished like I was so focused on like well I have to deliver a third album because that's my contract and also like I get that's how I get paid
mhm.
and it was like this focus on like that it was making me make not a good project
Yeah.
and I like wasn't feeling it and I was like
Mhm.
feeling like I was forcing it and it wasn't until I took a step back and then I like actually when I took a step back that's when I got dropped and then it made me like review everything and I was like I actually had some, it's like it just completely changed everything. And, um, it has like, again, there's like, it's still fresh. It only happened a couple months ago. So I'm still kind of, and it's hard. The holidays happen. So then like, I'm beating myself up because I'm not working on my album, but I'm like, it's literally the holidays. Like,
Yeah.
it's okay that I'm like not doing that right now. And so
Mhm.
it's it's kind of having to be your own boss can be a little bit intimidating sometimes. But
And it's all about perspective. And I'm so big on everything happens for a reason. You know what I mean?
that's how I feel too, is like, I was devastated at first. I was like sobbing. And then after like an hour of that, I sat back and I was like, wait, like I almost forgot what it was like to not
Hmm.
have a record label. And I was like, wait, I forgot that was an option.
Hmm.
And then it was like, wait, I signed with them like early 2021. Like I just had my top surgery. Like
Hmm.
I was in I was just finishing up my debut album and I'm a completely different person and
Hmm.
artist and producer than I was back then. So like they came at the perfect time for me in my career. Like
Yeah.
it was exactly what I needed. And I'm so grateful for that. And it was meant to be. And I think now I'm like, I don't know, I'm like 5, 6 years older. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm, I'm not, my frontal lobe developed. I know who I am. Like, I've grown so much as a writer and a producer that I'm like, oh, this is actually a great position for me to be
Yeah.
in. Um,
Yeah.
so,
Like
it
it's
all works
perfect
out.
timing. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
perfect timing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's 2026. Like it's kind of like that's what I'm saying. Like it's perspective. It's like okay, the new year, 2026. Like I'm not signed. I'm going to do the damn
Yeah.
thing, and you know
Yeah.
what I mean? That's how I see it.
Yeah. Exactly.
But I can understand you being sad and thinking like they just dropped me. Like damn, and it kind
Yeah.
of
I mean, it's like, how do you not take it personal?
yeah,
Because, and I've plenty of friends who have been dropped, and
yeah,
it was kind of one of those things. I'm like, oh, it's not gonna happen to me, and it happens to you, and you're like, fuck, like,
yeah,
it sucks. Like it's like it's especially when you've been working with the same people for a handful of years, and you have like a way that you do music with them, or not
hmm,
music with them, but like put it out.
yeah,
Like it takes all, and now I don't work with those people anymore. Like I made a lot of great friends there, and so it's like
yeah.
there's all these different layers to it.
Yeah, no,
Come here.
I get it. I totally get that. Okay, so your album, I think it was in 2022. I owe it to myself, correct? Is that
Yes.
okay?
And then 2023 was I'll be fine if I want to.
Okay, can you walk me through like what both of those albums meant to you and like what you
Of
were going through
course.
during those times?
So my first album I started writing, I think in 2020. It was like, yeah, it was like pandemic had just happened. I had not come out as non-binary yet. I was in a really, really dark place because I had all this pent up fear and anger of my gender and confusion for years that I was just ignoring, and it just kept getting worse and worse and worse the more you ignore it. And then there's something about just being in your own space and not being able to go do anything, like really just made me have to sit with myself. And I kind of just like exploded, and I was like, holy shit, I can't handle this anymore. And I freaked out, and I was like, I'm non-binary. Like I know who I am, and I'm just like so scared to say it out loud. And then after like I came to terms with coming out to myself, it was so much easier to come out to like, my wife and
Mhm.
my family and friends and all that. And then all that, that started to happen. I just was writing a lot of music about that, and writing a lot of music about this like kind of turmoil I was going through. And outside of gender, my parents were separated and have been, they are not compatible. There's a reason they're not together. So I was also navigating that at the same time. So it was like so much just was happening that was changing in my life. And for the first time ever, really, in my life, like so much change was happening. And I was, how old was I? Like 22, so like fresh out, like young, like that's such a baby, and like um, just kind of freaking out about everything. And so I was just writing all this music, and then I kind of had like a handful of songs that I knew I wanted to put out as an album. And then I got in touch with that label. They found me, and we connected and planned to put the album out together. And so that was interesting because I was already just making music without planning an album, and then it just like came to be just because of the circumstances. And I felt like that was just like the perfect album to just introduce me properly as a musician, because I'd put out a handful of songs I'd written before, and covers and stuff, and it was just not my best. I mean, I'm happy to say that I've grown. I was ready to put out a new batch of music that was like, this is more a better representation of like the music I make than like my old kind of embarrassing stuff, right? And I had like produced the whole album by myself, and so I was like really proud of it, and it was that's why I like the title I owe it to myself, because like the album was for myself. It was
Oh.
like truly like I owed this album and this project to myself and this opportunity. And I think it was just the best way to just introduce myself properly to the world as a musician. That's not just like uploading something quickly. It's like, look, we built a world. There's visuals. There's like so much thought behind this project. And then so I put that album out, and then as I was putting out that album, I already was starting the second one. I already started writing songs because right as I signed with this label, I had to fire my manager at the time for being the worst piece of shit transphobic guy I've ever met in my life. I do not like this guy. I hate this guy. And
Fuck whoever this
he
guy
caused
is.
me so much pain and so much
Oh,
heartbreak. Like just he like I like as I was like literally as I was recovering from top surgery, he would share the most transphobic shit to me. And it was just finally where I was like, I can't, like, I need to get rid of this guy. So it was like a really nasty, like, I just like dropped him. I was like, I can't, I don't want, never want, do not speak to me ever again.
yeah.
And so it was like, it was kind of also freeing with that album because I was like, I literally got rid of someone that I think for a while knew was not good for me. And it was just like I just was like, I couldn't take it anymore. And so it was like really scary to lose that and to lose someone in your team and to, a friend. I thought he was a friend, and so I think that's also why that first album felt so like freeing because it was like I literally got top surgery, so I chopped those off. I got this guy gone, and I have this like new. I'm entering into something new. Like I literally you can see and I can just feel there's such a shift between 2020 and 2021 for myself. Like my music and everything before 2020 was just like someone who didn't know who they were, and you just see the difference. And so, anyways, so while I'm preparing to put out the first album, I'm dealing with, having to fire my ex-manager, and I was just writing a lot about him because I was so angry and so angry about it. So a lot of this, and then I was dealing with other like personal relationship stuff, like familial stuff. So I was kind of in this place where I was like dealing with a lot of heartbreak from people, and I was frustrated, but I was like feeling all these heavy emotions, but I also was like, you don't get to take anything away from me. So then a lot of the second album is kind of that. And that's why it's called I'll Be Fine If I Want to. Because it's like, well, you could say all this shit. You could be the worst people to me, whatever. But like, if all I want is to just be fine in the moment, I don't even need to fake a smile. I don't need to be angry at you. If all I want to do is just be fine,
Mm-hmm.
then I'm going to do that. Like I can literally feel whatever I want. And if right now I just want to feel fine about it, that's it. So the second album was a lot more focused on, okay, I'm sitting down and I'm making an album. I'm sitting down and I have a kind of an idea in mind of what the story is like. So I had completely different approaches to the albums, and I feel like they really carry nicely with each other. And so, and they had like a very chronological order too, because I was like literally working on them as they go through. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm really now I'm approaching this album that I'm working on now, and I'm less focused on the story and more focused on kind of like the actual music itself. And I'm really trying to be very diligent with the way that I produce the music and write the music. Like I've had so many versions of these songs and I'll be like, oh, this is it. And then I'm like, no, scratch everything. I re-record everything, completely change the BPM, the tempo, everything.
Mm-hmm.
But I really feel like I want to kind of really focus on the music side of this one. I've been writing so much music, and it's funny because I'm like, I feel like I haven't, but then I have at the same time. And I'll sit. I even did this yesterday. I was sitting down and listening to all the demos I have so far, and I get really excited because I'm like, I just want to put it out now. And then that's the part of the independent part that's like, oh, I can. And then I'm like, no, I can't. Like I need to still make sure I have that. Like
Yeah.
there needs to be strategy. You can't just drop music. Like
Yeah.
especially when you're not unless you're fucking huge, right?
Yeah.
But like I have to have strategy behind it. So like that's a nice thing because it gives me that time to really be diligent. Because also that's the other thing is like, I think, it's been a little bit since I've put out an album. Like I've put out a handful of singles, but like an actual project with like a world behind it, I'm itching to put out. But I've learned from my mistakes that I don't want to force music
Mm-hmm.
because I've definitely done that. And then I've listened back and been like, I wish I did take more time on this or recorded this better or whatever it is. And I just want to really make sure that this one's done right.
You're working on an album. When will that come
Mm-hmm.
out?
It's a good question. I was thinking about, I definitely want to put out at least something next year. I mean, that's diminishing what I was saying. I'm going to put out a lot of music next year, but if I'm able to, I kind of, I have like a whole album in mind, but I think I want to try to be able to put out an EP, which would be like kind of this nice little introduction to the album. That would be great if I can get that out in spring. And then it might be ambitious to try to have the album out in the fall. Maybe it's the following spring. It's just a matter of how quickly I start to get back to it. But I definitely want to. I thought I was gonna wait and do a whole album, and then I was talking to my friend Semler, who I've written so much of this album with. We've written so much music. They're one of my best friends, one of my favorite collaborators, and they were the one they've always been an independent artist, and so I came to them a lot when I got dropped and kind of seek advice from them, and they were like, put on an EP. They're like, if you have the songs ready and like I'd written one the other day with my other friend Jules Paymer, and it's one of my favorite songs I've ever written. And I sent it to Grace, who's similar, and they're like, "Dude, you have to put this song out now." And I was like, "I know, but it's like such an album." They're like, "Just put out an EP so you can put this song out."
Yeah.
And they just like kind of showed to me like there is no rules there. Like if I want to put out something else, like I can, and that's I need to really embrace being an independent artist now, where I can just come up with my own schedule. So to answer your question, I'm hoping to put out an EP hopefully within the next couple months, 2, 3 months, if I can make that happen.
I believe in you. I believe in you. And that's what's honestly, that's what's good. Like when you are an independent artist, it sounds like you have great people around you as well. Like, I mean, I'm sure
Yeah.
you're able to do the damn thing and figure out anything that you need, but it sounds like you have good people around whenever like you do need, some encouragement or motivation or
Hmm.
anything like that, they're there. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So that's,
And like I said, like when I my first album, when I first signed with my label, that then like all the people I was writing with, like I met most of them through my label, like through my
hmm
A&R. So everything was set up for me.
hmm
And so now it's completely different where like I've met so many great songwriters and producers, and I've really I'm someone who really likes to work with the same people. Like I really like once I know someone, I write really well with them. So I'm very much like I have my circle that I like. And so I have that now and I'm equipped with that now. And I think that that's why like being independent now is less scary because I'm not like clueless. I'm
Yeah.
not in this by myself.
Yeah, like you were signed, the experience was great, you loved it, you got things that you needed from it. Now you
Hmm.
use those tools and you'll do it yourself with the people that
And
you actually.
I'm truly making the best music I've ever made. And I know I'm probably going to say that every time I keep making music, but I really, really, really am proud of what I'm making right now. And so I don't want to rush it.
Yeah.
Like I want it out there because I want to share it, but I
hmm
want to make sure it's done right. So I'm trying to take my time, but not too much time because I do want to get it
Yeah.
out there, but I'm excited for what's to come.
Yeah, me too. I'm so excited. Okay, so many of your songs, they deal with identity, queerness, self-discovery, love, mental health, all of the good stuff. For
Yes.
example, the track Second
Hmm.
is about self-love and anxiety around top surgery. I mean, that's like super vulnerable. Like you are just kind of like putting yourself out there in these songs, which is like that's what songwriters do. But what is your relationship with vulnerability in songwriting? Like did it take you a second to be like I know earlier you were saying like whenever you were making the your first album, I think you were like fuck it, I'm just putting it all out there like I'm non-binary. But like was that
Hmm.
hard to be like, okay, I'm going to put out music that's around all of these topics that people think are taboo.
Honestly, first off, can you hear my cat scratching his litter box this
No,
whole time? Thank God, that was so embarrassing. I was like, you were talking about such nice things, and my cat just like throwing his poop around.
just like,
I was like, God, who does that? It's funny because I've always loved to be vulnerable in my music. I've always thought like that is what makes great songwriting, and I think that it's something that, like I said, even in the beginning of this, I overshare. Like I have no problem sharing things. I have to, if anything, learn when is it important to keep things to myself.
yeah,
So like being vulnerable in terms of that, it wasn't scary to me. It felt
okay,
just like I was like, hell yeah, I can do it. I mean, obviously, like if any, the more of the vulnerable part is like sharing maybe like the visuals online because I open myself up to whoever is going to see it, right?
yeah,
That's honestly like where the like anxiety comes from. But the actual like what I'm writing about and the people that are listening to my music know what they're getting.
yeah,
That's not scaring me. The I will say like the only time I really am anxious about being vulnerable in writing is if I'm talking about a specific experience I had with someone, because then it's like it's not just about me anymore, and then also it becomes more real life for me. So like
yeah,
whether it's dealing with family or friendship breakup, whatever it is, like I that the only reason it worries me to be vulnerable is because like there is a real person I'm talking about, and I have to be mindful and gentle about how I tell the story, because it's all, besides that one ex manager, there's still all love with people even if they've
yeah.
hurt me, right? Like so, and there's real life consequences. People can hear it and talk about it and whatever it is. So that's like the only real part where being vulnerable I'm more anxious about. But if it's talking about like literally just my experience with gender or mental health, like I'll go full.
Yeah.
I don't hesitate.
Yeah. And I love how you're so aware of how certain songs can make other people feel. For example, like a friendship breakup or like a family breakup or whatever. I love
Hmm.
how you're so intentional and like you think about how other people are feeling. But I'm also the type where I'm like, it's your story. Like, of
Hmm.
course, like it is good to be gentle, especially with people
Right.
that have been like, with you through a lot. But it's your story to tell, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's your truth. And I think that's what makes songs so well, not like specifically yours, just in general, is when you can tell it's coming from a place where like the person's just being authentic. The person is just telling what happened. You know what I mean? Like they're just
And it's also like the reality is it's like it's not a unique story. It's like how many people go through friendship
yeah.
breakups? How many people have a bad relationship with a family member? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's all that is unfortunately not unique,
Yeah.
and I know people can relate to it. And so it's also like for me it's like it's part of the way I process things is to write music, and I've written plenty of music that I never put out because I just write the song. But for the most part I'm very much like I'm not someone who writes so much music and has to pick which ones to put out. Most of the time, if I write a song, it comes out to some degree. There's very few that like, unless it's like I don't like the song.
Yeah.
But for the most part, like when I write a song, like my intention usually is to try to put it out. Like I said, there's some exceptions where I'm like, oh, that one maybe is way too honest for said relationship, and that
Yeah.
needs to just be for myself. That's happened before, but and that's like it is like because the problem is like also just like I think with today's day and age and just the notion of like being queer on the internet, people feel very entitled on the internet. They feel just because you shared something on the internet means they're entitled to it, which I understand to some degree where that instinct comes from. It's very quickly people just forget people are humans. And just because I shared something means it doesn't mean that they're entitled to more information or anything else.
Hmm.
And people love to fucking assume. They love to make assumptions. Look, I'm guilty of it too. Celebrities break up. I also am the same way. I'm like, how'd they break up? What happened? Like it's human, I get that. But I think it's the way that people share those opinions, right? It's the way it starts to now just like try to force and dig that out from real people on the internet when also we're talking about like we're small people versus like massive, massive celebrities who are untouchable, right? But that's also I think where that anxiety comes from is like just today's the way the internet works and social media works. Like if I'm sharing a certain story that is about like something that someone did to me or I went through with someone, like that's the also anxiety inducing part is that people will run with it, and
Hmm.
it's frustrating that they do because I had someone one time like be like, you put that song out, so why don't you just sit down and do a tell all and just tell everything? I'm like, how are you jumping from one end to the other? Like that's a complete if I wanted to sit down and do a story time, I totally could. I
Yeah.
don't know why I would do it unless someone if someone comes for my name, then I'll come for them, but I'm never gonna at the end of the day though, it's like if you go through something with someone and there wasn't evil, there wasn't like malicious
Malicious.
intent, like
Yeah.
someone is just a bad like did wasn't a great friend or like kind of fucked up and whatever,
Yeah.
it's like that's between me and that person, like what really is going on and whatever. But like to share how I feel about how I feel about it, how I'm processing it, what I wish for this person, like that is the story that I want to share.
Yeah.
And I think it's like people are so quick to be like, oh, well, that's you. Like, I don't know, like it's just like people forget that it's like art and songwriting versus just a post on the internet. You know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah.
don't know. I think I'm kind of losing where I'm trying to go with it, but I
No,
think
but
that's like
I get it. And
why that vulnerability is scary.
yes, vulnerability is scary because social media is fucking scary. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm the same way with you when it comes to like I'm usually someone that stays to myself. I don't really like to like, talk about anything, but if someone comes for my throat, then that's different. If
Yeah.
someone
Or if they do something that's like truly like we are all societally we say this is bad, yes, then I'll expose him.
yeah.
Like my ex-manager. No problem talking about what he did. Right. Like
No.
straight up transphobia, I'm not going to be silent about it.
Yeah.
But if it's like, we like if someone wasn't a great friend to me, I'm not going to drag them on the
Yeah.
internet, right?
Yeah.
Like
Like people make mistakes. There was no evil. Like the person might have fucked up, but like why would I expose it if it's cordial and we're done?
right, like if to be fair, like of course like I'm still hurt and I'm still heartbroken and I wish things were different. I wish things were handled differently. but that's it's also like kind of like the way I write music too is like I feel it's kind of like my way to like an open letter, right?
Hmm.
I have no idea who hears my music. I don't know if any of the songs that I've written about any of the people that have heard me have ever heard the songs. I kind of hope they do because I feel like you really kind of really hear what I have to say, my perspective. But if they don't, they don't. I can't make that happen. But
Yeah.
I know for a fact my ex manager has heard my music about him because he got mad about it and tried to come for me about it. So I'm like, so I'm like,
See,
it's
that's
been on that end. But I'm like, did you hear the lyrics though? Like, did
yeah,
you hear what I had to say?
yeah. Did you hear?
Like, did you like? I'm honest, like. So I think it's kind of that too. It's like it's not only to write music to I just to share to that's what I do. I just like I don't know how to not do it, right?
Yeah,
But also it's like I do kind of see them as these like open letters,
totally.
of I hope if you if you read those lyrics, like I mean it,
I know.
and you do with it what you want.
I was talking to, I've had a couple of artists on my podcast, so I unfortunately don't remember who this conversation was with, but I was talking to whoever it was about how, like, being an artist, like, it's kind of like therapy. It's like you go through a heartbreak, you go through this, you go through that.
Hmm.
Just make a song about it. Like, I'm not saying like it's that easy, because obviously there's a lot that goes
Right.
into it, but it's like, yeah, just like make a song out of it. Like, I don't know. I just think it's really fucking cool. Like, all of the artists I've had on, and they talk to me about like everything that they've gone through. It's really put things into perspective where I'm just like, it really is. It's like poetry. It's like and it's like so vulnerable. These artists are just putting all of like their trauma and everything that they've gone through into these songs, and it's just like it's just so cool. Like, some people's outlet is writing, but y'all's is it's singing and like putting it into music and sharing it with people, and I think that's just really fucking cool. So
That's like it's just funny like when I think about it, like, again, I have no idea otherwise like how to do anything otherwise. Like that's just what I do is I just like put it to song.
yeah.
Like I said, there was one I wrote about like a family thing, and it was pretty brutal, like super pretty brutal. And I wrote it, and then as I sat with it, I was like, "This is a fucking fantastic song, but I can never put this out. Like this is too truthful. This is too like this is where it's like I would have to make decisions in my life, right, before if I were to be this vulnerable or be this honest, right? So
Yeah.
that does exist. I do have a threshold, right? But it is still it felt really good to write it,
Yeah.
and I'll listen to it sometimes, and I'm like if it comes to a point where maybe I have to send it to this person, would that help? I don't know. But
Yeah.
like, this is not for public consumption, right?
Yeah.
This is my own thing. So it is very much there's a lot of like healing behind it, at least for
Totally.
me.
Yeah. All right, what is your favorite song that you have, excuse me, ever written, and why?
I feel like I change this answer all the time. I feel like I'm okay, well, I have one new one that I recently wrote that is probably my current favorite, but if we're not talking about unreleased.
No, you can talk about whatever, but you will have to, like, if you decide to choose the one that's new, you have to kind of explain to us what it's about.
Okay, I'll give you both answers. How about that? So,
Okay.
one of my favorite songs I just recently wrote, the one I wrote, I said with Jules Paymer. I'm really excited about it. I'm just really proud of like the production too, just as like a musician. But my dog recently, he's such an anxious little boy. He's a German Shepherd mix, so he's huge, but he's like a little baby. He recently got Prozac because we've been meaning to get him anxiety medication,
Okay.
and we finally got him Prozac. And I've been on antidepressants, or it's like antidepressants, but it's for my anxiety for
Mhm.
like 5 years. And I had this thought of like, I really want to write a song about how my dog and I are both on the same medication. Not really, but like we're both on anti-anxiety meds.
Yeah.
And I was like, that would be such a cool song. And I was like, I want to write it in a way that's like using it as a metaphor of like the way that we both approach anxiety. Like him being a dog, like his is very like, there's not a lot of depth behind it,
Hmm.
but like, cause they don't know, they're not scared of the same things we are, and they don't have the same anxiety levels we do. And then like to kind of use that as a metaphor as to like how insane my anxiety feels, but also how not insane it needs to be because it's not that deep. And I feel like it's one of those songs that like I knew if we could write it well, it could be a fantastic song. And I fear me and Jules knocked it out of the park. Like I remember we did it one day and they came over late at night and we had dinner together and we just like I've written a handful of songs with Jules. I love writing with Jules. They're a fantastic songwriter and their recent album they put out is incredible.
Wait, what's their
I
name?
I love Jules. Jules Paymer.
Ju-
Jules. Fantastic songwriter. They're another non-binary artist, and Yeah, we are good friends and write a lot of music together. They co-wrote my song "Jealous of My Brother,"
Okay, I was
and then I
gonna
put out a song with them, "The Daughter That My Mother Wanted."
yeah, I was gonna ask you about that song, but we can talk
Yeah,
about
we
that.
wrote that song together. But anyways, yeah, so this song, that song I'm really excited about, and I think this is gonna be one on that EP, so hopefully I can get this song out soon.
Okay.
Songs that I've put out, like, it changes all the time, which one my favorite one is. But I think I really, really like What Would the Neighbors Think? I think that's a song that I just feel it's just like when I listen to it, I'm like just very happy with it.
Hmm.
And I feel like that with a handful of my songs. And it goes back and forth. Like Second will always be one of my favorite songs just because what it means to me and my community. But I think What Would the Neighbors Think as a song, I'm just like really happy with, and I love performing it, and I just love the music behind it. Yeah,
Amazing.
it's sad.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah.
It's a
Um,
sad one.
the song Jealous of My Brother,
Yes,
can you kind of explain what that one is about? I
yes.
mean, I feel like it's pretty
My
self-explanatory, but
My brother, I have two favorite people in my world. It's my wife and my brother. I have the best brother in the world, and he's like the world's greatest ally. Like just trans ally. Like he's incredible. Like I feel so deeply loved and supported by him. But I also have a lot of gender envy about him. So he's 3 years younger than me, and he's tall, and I get gender envy around him. And growing up, like kind of that period of time I told you before 2020
hmm.
when it was really bad, we were in a weird place because I would just get so angry around him. Like I would watch him like put on a white t-shirt and I would just feel so upset that it was so effortless for him. I was like, why do you just like, or my mom would get us like me a shirt for Christmas and it fit me well and I'd be like, oh, and I'd give it to my brother and it looked perfect on him without trying. And I just felt so much under envy towards him. And I was like, I would be like snarky to him about it. And like as I like went through things and grew up and we've just gotten so the older we get, the closer we get. And I've apologized plenty of times of like, for what I went through. Like, I'm sorry, I should never have made you feel like bad for just like existing. I just was like really struggling with that stuff. And so
Yeah.
I wrote that song about like being jealous of my cisgender brother. And I see the way like my extended family, like he's just, my extended family, like, they have a lot of, they're not traditional in the sense of like being conservative. They're just traditional in the sense of like traditionalism, where like the man kind of carries certain things, and so like they always talk about how handsome he is and how he's going to be the patriarch of the family and stuff like that. And like there's things that like I was never told those things. Like I never had those same expectations, right? And so there's always been times that I've had that thought of like the lyric is like, would my family like me more if I was something like my brother? And it's like it kind of is a heavy question of like my brother as in cis or like my brother as in if I was a boy, like whatever it was.
Hmm.
And then on top of it, so it's like a song about being jealous of my cisgender brother, but also an ode to him of he's so great that like I wish they were more like my brother
Hmm.
because he's so cool. He's such a good ally and person to me.
Aw.
And it's funny, like I remember when my family heard it, they were like, "What does he think about it?" Like they thought like he would be offended by it, and I was like, "You guys are still missing the point that he even understands how good of a song." You know what I mean? Like, it kind of captures like the two things that I feel about my brother, and yeah, I really like that song, and it's fun to play, but it's like kind of sad if you really think about it. And I think it's funny too because like I remember when my family heard it and they were like asking how my brother felt about it, but I was like, they had it was interesting because like they had this thing. It was mainly like my dad is such a great ally. He's so sweet, but he kind of like takes it personal for a second, where he's almost like,
Yeah.
shoot, like did we do, like did is there more I could have done, or what can I do, And he kind of freaked out about it. And I was like, Dad, like I know this is like not necessarily the answer you want to hear. I know what you're trying to ask, but you can't do anything about it right now. Like this is how I feel. Like this is how I feel.
Yeah.
Like this is and how I'm gonna feel. Like it's just the way that I've been made to feel or whatever it is. Like
Hmm.
I'm not asking you to change this feeling. You can't change this feeling. The best thing you can do is just like moving forward, just like make sure that you're just sticking out for me when in circumstances, right?
Oh.
And I think that was like a really nice conversation to have with him because he was so receptive. He's like, "Oh, I get it." But I think as a parent, he was like kind of sad about that because he was like, "Fuck, like my kid is feeling these things." But I was like, it's just like life. You have a trans kid. Like
Huh?
that's just what it is, right? And he was like, you know, he really sat with me. He's like, okay, yeah, but
Oh,
it's sweet. And I felt kind of bad that he had that was his first instinct, and I just had to be like, it's okay. Like I'm not asking you to do anything right now.
yeah.
Like, and it was just like kind of nice to know that like that is a song that you know they were able to. It was easy to for first they first freak out about the lyrics, and then when you actually sit with it, it's like yeah, it's kind of sad that I feel that way, but it's what it is. And now you just like understand me better now that you know that that's how I
Mhm.
feel. And I hope that that's how they ended up
Yeah.
taking it.
And that's exactly what I was meaning earlier about like just being vulnerable. Like that's a vulnerable song. Like you know what I mean? Like you're putting it out there and it's
Yeah.
tough to write things like that, especially your parents. They were like, "What the fuck?" You know, like
Yeah.
what?
And that's what I mean by like lyrics, like, you know, I knew that by putting a lyric that's like, would my family like me more if I was something like my brother? It'd
Yeah.
be so much easier if I didn't talk to my family, if I didn't have family, right? But like, you know, I talk to my extended family. Like my dad is like, I have you know, I have some relationships aren't great, but like the ones that I do have, like I know they're gonna ask me about it. So it's
Yeah.
like that was something I had to be like ready for, and that's
Yeah.
as long as I prepare myself, like okay, they might have a reaction to this, but like I don't want that to stop me from writing the music I want to write, you know.
Exactly. Exactly.
And they're ultimately not they're not like homophobic or transphobic where they're like fuck you. They just might be kind of weird about it at first, and I'll be like, here, this is what it means, and do with it what you need.
Yeah. And it's like I feel like, and I'm not like comparing my like experience and journey with your journey at all, but it's like whenever I came out as lesbian, my parents had a lot of questions and I
Yeah.
wasn't upset about it. You know what I mean? Because it's one of those things where it's like people are always going to have questions, especially the older generation. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
they're always going to have questions and it wasn't like their intention and like it didn't come from like a hateful part of their heart. They were just uneducated about it and they wanted to know questions, you know what I mean? And it's like,
Yeah, and that's usually you can I've equipped myself pretty well to tell when someone means ill harm
yeah,
or not. And even though if they obviously they can still be harmful if they don't mean to.
yeah,
But like it is such a huge difference when like because at the end of like if there's people that you care about in your life like I had plenty of hiccups with close people in my life who are incredible now, you
yeah,
know, but they had some hiccups. They had no idea and it was rough. It was hard. Like
yeah,
I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It was hard to navigate that. But like it took just like conversation and it
exactly.
took that and it's like I care about that relationship and love those
Hmm.
people where I want that relationship with them. So it's like you got to talk about it. Obviously, if it was, you know, if they were like fuck, you know, like
Yeah.
I'm very fortunate. I have a really good support system, but you know what I mean.
Speaking of, your family and, you transitioning and all of that stuff. I want to talk about that. So, when you transitioned, is that a word that you're okay with, transitioned?
Yeah, I guess technically that's what I did
Okay, because
in a way. I mean, it's like I think it's something that I don't ever really actually use for myself, but
okay.
when people use it, I'm like, I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, I'm not on hormones, so the only thing I really did was got top surgery. But
Okay.
I guess that's the other thing too is like, you know, that's such a it's a good thing that it's a vague word. Like people I think protect it too much and it's like if it works for what you did. Anyways, you're not wrong. Keep going.
Okay, no, but I like that yeah, I mean, and whenever I say transitioned, I just mean like, and I guess,
Had my gender affirming care.
yes, and like, started to, identify as non-binary. That's what I mean.
Right, right. Yes, yes. I got that.
Was it about like aligning your outer appearance with like your inner truth or, with community or like what was it?
I always like if you look back at photos of myself, I think I always knew who I was. And I think that's like what was so scary about it is like I knew and I would that's it was never like, oh, this is a new thought. It's like I've had it my whole
Yeah.
entire life. Like there's been plenty of instances my family has told me when I was like little like under 4 years old, where I was telling them I'm a boy, and obviously I didn't know what non-binary was at the time. You know, I'm 4 years old, but I knew that I wasn't a girl, and it's really cool. Like there's plenty of I did a lot of drawings when I was little of like my family. So I have a brother and then my two parents, and I would always draw my mom with like you know like women hair and then I always drew myself like my dad and my brother. So
Oh,
like
okay.
I
Yeah.
for growing up, like I always saw myself as like just like I don't know again, I didn't know what it meant, but I like anytime when I thought about visually or chart like I always associated myself with that.
You
And
say
so
when you say that, so this might be like I don't know how to word this. So you said you draw your mom as like feminine. I don't know, like more.
I guess I never drew myself like to be my mom because I never was like, oh, I'm a girl like my mom. I was like, I'm not like my mom. I'm more like my brother, and my dad.
So when you were younger, do you think you like you I don't even know how to word this. I think it's interesting because, right, like you identify as non-binary, but whenever you're speaking about whenever you were drawing when you were younger, you would draw yourself more of boyish. So I guess my
Hmm.
question is, do you think that you resonate more with like the more, see, I don't know how to word this, like masculine
I get what you're
side?
saying. Yeah, I think I always associated myself with masculinity. I
Okay.
never felt connected to femininity.
Okay.
Um, and I think it's like part of it was also just like not having the language of that because I don't feel androgynous. That's the
Yeah.
thing. Like I think like gender. I like I don't. I know I'm not a man. I don't feel like a trans man.
Yeah.
Like anytime I'm gendered as a man, because a lot of times online, especially because people see that I have the trans flag, they assume I'm a trans man, and it just feels wrong. Like I'm not a man. So it's been, and I've had that thought before
Yeah.
for sure, where I'm like, am I actually a trans man? But I just think I'm non-binary, and I've had that because I know that's a thing a lot of trans mass people deal with. And it was really affirming to feel like when people thought I was a man, that didn't feel right either.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, I'm very, I feel very confident in my gender identity. And then when I think about like, I've thought about like microdosing testosterone, for example. The main thing that stops me is like, I don't want my voice to change because I'm, do music and I don't feel dysphoric about my voice. And I feel like I would feel dysphoric if I had facial hair or whatever it was. Like there's certain things that I would like from testosterone that I can achieve without testosterone.
Yes.
But the things that would like give me more of like the like like male characteristics like feel dysphoric to me. So that's like how I have just
Yeah.
realized like now in this time of my life, like I know I'm a non-binary person. Um, but it is cool that like my whole life I've always felt like I never connected to girls. I never felt like a girl. And I think that's what I was trying to get at is like I didn't know exactly what that meant at the time or what it was, but I just knew I wasn't a girl. And that's something I've known my whole life, but
Yeah.
I've never felt like I never felt connected to that, and that scared me because I didn't know what being non-binary was until like 2020.
Mm-hmm.
I like I didn't understand what that meant. I thought the only option was I could be a trans man.
Yeah.
Like, well, I'm not a man,
Yeah.
but I'm not a girl, and it like freaked me out. So that's I think why like also I was so scared about because like what does this mean? Why can't I
Mm-hmm.
just be like why can't I have a simple answer? Um, so yeah.
Yeah, no. And I love how you just explained that.
I think that's a cool part too about like just talking about like non-binary identities is like how vast they are, right? Like
Yes.
it's very easy that people assume non-binary identities mean either a third gender or mean like it means in the
Mm-hmm.
middle and being androgynous. And that's something I had to unlearn too. Because I thought it meant that like it just means you're a mix or whatever. It's like there's so many like it's all made up, right?
Yeah,
And so um I it's like you can there's not one way to look non-binary. Like you can
exactly.
I could present as feminine and still be non-binary.
Hmm.
Like and I think that's something that people forget and people
Yeah.
like especially on the internet. But yeah, so like I just have always been connected to masculinity
Yeah.
but not felt like a woman.
For queer or trans youth who discover your
Hmm.
music, what do you hope they take away from your journey and your visibility? Like, what message do you want them to hear when they listen to your music?
I would say the most important person to come out to is yourself because I struggled with being on the internet. I've been public on the internet since like 2016. So people have watched my journey. There have been people who have followed me since 2016, so they've seen all that. And when I first cut my hair, I think in 2018, and I really started like dressed like really you know honing in on my masculinity. And but there was a period of time where I was like so scared of being trans and being non-binary that I doubled down on being a woman. And I was like, I'm just a masculine woman, and masculine women can exist, which is true.
Yeah.
And that's the frustrating part is there's transphobes out there who think that, whatever.
Yeah.
There's always people who anyway, so I doubled down on that because that to me, like, in hindsight was not true, but like I was so scared of the alternative that I was like, no, I trust me, I'm not trans. Because the problem is when I first cut my hair, my social media was flooded with people being like, "Oh, you're trans. You're going to be trans. I know it. I see it. I see it." And that really scarred me because people were trying to take away my own journey
Hmm.
and tell me who I am. And I knew they were right, deep down, even though I was like, no, no, no. And so that scared me because I was like, I was angry because I was like, how dare you take this away from me? And then now I feel like I have to, now I can't be this because I don't want you to be right. And it really set me super far back because I was just so scared. I was just so hurt by it. And
Mhm.
so that's something that I'm really passionate about is like, I get really upset when people try to tell other people what their identity is or who they are. Because it's like not yours to say. And like,
Yeah.
what do you get from being right? Like, what do you get from being like, I knew you were trans the whole time? Like, what do you want? Like a
And
fucking sticker? Like,
and it's like, especially people over social media, it's like you don't even know me. Like
yeah,
maybe again, maybe the intentions were pure and you were trying to, I don't know,
right.
help me out, but it's like you don't know me. Don't do that.
And it's also like something that's the thing too with social media is like back to just assuming on songs and stuff like people don't know how to have inside thoughts like they don't know how to have those thoughts and not project them on other people
Yeah.
like obviously like on social media you can post whatever you want
Yeah.
sure but like and I hate when people are like but you shared it you can post it it's like but there's also like a level of human like respect where you could be like I can you not control yourself
Yeah.
like can you not control yourself to not say something
Mhm.
so anyway so like to me that really like pushed me back and so it took me a while to come out to myself because of the pressure that people so then I was like I felt like I had to like prove myself to other people whatever it was so I think like the biggest advice thing I or the biggest thing I want people to focus on is like it is so important about your relationship with yourself like only like you figure that out for nobody else but yourself first and also like don't fucking tell other people who they are like it's so unfair and it's just super stupid and it I think it's just like I just have no respect for people who do that like I truly like it it hurt me so bad. I've been on that side and watching people do it all over the internet and all over TikTok, whatever it is, like who like again, do we all probably like yeah, we have like our gaydar and we're like, I think this but like I know not I'm not gonna go comment someone's page like, I think you're gonna be gay one day. Like you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
that's like a friends and family type of conversation, but like I don't get how people don't control themselves on the internet. Anyways, that's my main thing. You come out to yourself only, and don't tell other people who they are.
Period. Because literally what you said, it can be so hurtful, especially like figuring out who you are, like that's so complex to begin with. And then when
Mm-hmm.
you are getting not advice, but like opinions from other people that could like fuck with your brain even more. And you're just like, even if you don't believe it, in your brain, you might be like, well, wait, you know what I mean? And then it just like,
Yeah,
it's like if someone
because then we
on,
get because then we get the opposite side of it too. Like there's plenty of like non like I said non-binary people who present like very strictly feminine, and people are like,
Mhm.
well, you can't be non-binary, or like I have people on the internet tell me I can't identify as sapphic. And I'm
What?
like, first off, do your fucking research. Like, research lesbian and sapphic
Stupid.
history. Like, it is so intertwined with trans history, and it makes me so upset. Also, B, why do you care how I identify? Why do you care what word I use for myself? Also, like, I've, the only girl I've ever dated and been with is my wife, who I've been with for 10 years. And when we first started dating, I fully identified as a girl. So, like, my relationship to like womanhood and loving women is sapphic
Yes.
and always will be and
Mhm.
like and the fact that people like just because I identify as trans non-binary and they're like you can't use that word I'm like well I just think that's fucking stupid like also why do you care
No,
so I
literally.
just like there's a flip side of telling people who they are and who they can't be and I just think it just always is doing more harm than good obviously there are certain words when they're rooted in like race, of course, there's a whole different like
Yes.
there are certain words that only certain people can use.
Yes.
Absolutely, I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about like all the other words, right?
Yeah.
But it is the policing inside the queer community is really really
It's
disheartening,
crazy.
and it's something that I'm super upset about when I'm on the internet.
No, I get it. So, what is next for you personally, musically? Any dream projects, collaborations coming up? I know you said that.
I guess it's just that yeah I have dream collaborations all the time, but I really this next year I really want to put out either whether it's the beginning of the project or it's the whole project. The project is happening to some degree. I really really want to go on tour again. I really want to I would love to go on a tour opening for someone and I also want to plan my own headline tour. Whether that would be like early 2027. But so I have like a mental calendar in my
Yeah.
head of what I would like to do. It's just a matter of like hitting, January 1st starts and it's like,
Go time.
hit the ground running.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's exciting. You literally went on tour with Lauren Sanderson.
That was so fun. And G Flip, that was fun too. The two great tours. Such great people.
Well, Mickey, thank you so much for coming on. It's the end of the
Thank
episode.
you so much for having me.
I have so many more questions to ask you, and I realized that I didn't ask you any questions about you and your wife. So, part two.
We'll just have to do a part two. Yeah, I can talk about my wife for so long. So if that's the thing, if you start asking me about that, we would be here for hours. So
No,
I
but
think we just need to do a part two.
I'm being so serious. The fact that you said that y'all met on Tumblr, like, I have to
Yeah,
hear it. So, I
actually, that's a great story. I'm not kidding either. Literally, just email me and we'll do a part two. We'll be like the part we never got to because that's. I think you think Let's Topia is crazy. Wait until I tell you about Tumblr. Tumblr's crazier.
okay. Hey, I'm gonna hold you to it because
Yeah,
I
yeah. Let's
I
do
need to
it.
know this story.
Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, again, thank you so much for coming on. If you want to drop your socials, let people know where to find you, go ahead.
I am quite literally the only Miki Ratsula to exist,
Oh,
so you find me everywhere.
easy.
So I'm pretty easy to find. It's like the same username everywhere. Venmo, even. Yeah. No, but I'm quite literally like there's not another Miki Ratsula out there, so I'm not hard to miss.
Like,
Not hard to
find.
find. Not hard to find.
Well, for my listeners, I post every Wednesday. This month has been kind of crazy with the holidays, so I've been kind of on and off. But thank you guys for being patient. Make sure to follow me on all socials. Everything will be a link down below. I love you guys, and I will talk to you soon. All right, bye.